Just 1 second, please. Just 1 second, please. I hope so. Everything is all right. I've done something. Okay. I think live now. Lovely. Okay. Hare Krishna. So, yes, please. Who would like to take the lead? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'll start. I'll start with my realization.
Yes, you always do. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu, giving me the opportunity and organizing this nice program.
Thanks to you. Thanks to all of you.
And thank you for all the devotees. And yes, my realization is on that mellow Prabhuji sent, that the whole material world is filled with such envy that everyone becomes afraid of his neighbors. Every businessman is afraid of his associates, because this material world is the field of activities for all kinds of envious people who have come here to compete with the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada in purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 30, verse 13. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai. So I realized that our root cause of suffering is envy. We wanted to become Krishna and enjoy like him. So Krishna mercifully created this material world where conditioned souls like us, who are envious and illusioned, try to enjoy in the material world. But rather than enjoyment, we are suffering, because we are not fulfilling the purpose for which we have been created. Spirit soul's purpose of existing is the service of the Lord. Now, in this verse, Srila Prabhupada explained in the purport that envious nature of demigod Indra. Indra get anxious and envy if a great sage undergoes severe austerities. So we can understand that even heavenly planets are filled with such living entities who are envious. So if people aspiring to go to heavenly planets, that is not going to save them from envy, which is the root cause of our fall down. Then the second point is that how we get overcome with this envy. We have discussed this point previously in our association program, and the point is that if we are not satisfied with our situation, then we will be envious. The platform of satisfaction is needed to even study scriptures and performing devotion service. With anxious mind, we cannot study. Next thing is then how to become satisfied. Well, when we utilize our intelligence, we need to be satisfied materially for certain level. Otherwise, we will be always run around and anxiety level will be very high. I want to share an email sent by Prabhuji long time ago from Granth on the secret of happiness. There is a little story that a crow lived in the forest and was absolutely satisfied in life. But one day he saw a swan. The swan is so white, he thought, I'm so black. The swan must be the happiest bird in the world. He expressed his thoughts to the swan. Actually, the swan replied, I was feeling that I was the happiest bird around until I saw parrot, which has two colors. I now think the parrot is the happiest bird in the creation. The crow then approached the parrot. The parrot explained, I lived a very happy life until I saw a peacock. I have only two colors, but the peacock has multiple colors. The crow then visited a peacock in the zoo and saw that hundreds of people gathered to see him. After the people had left, the crow approached the peacock. Dear peacock, the crow said, you are so beautiful. Every day, thousands of people come to see you. When people see me, they immediately shoo me away. I think you are the happiest bird on the planet. The peacock replied, I always thought that I was the most beautiful and happy bird on the planet. But because of my beauty, I am entrapped in this zoo. I have examined the zoo very carefully, and I have realized that the crow is the only bird not kept in the in a cage. So for past few days, I have been thinking that if I were a crow, I could happily roam everywhere. So this is our problem too. We make unnecessary comparison with others and become sad instead of counting our blessings from the Lord, thus leading to the vicious cycle of unhappiness. There will always be someone who will have more or less than what we have. So the happiest person is the satisfied person. That, that, that is why we see that Lord Vamandev very categorically states in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, verse 24. Yad recho papanene nanena santushto vartate sukham na santushto tribhir ajitat moh pasad. Translation.
Prabhuji, 1 second, Prabhuji. Miss Bala, Hare Krishna, your name is this Bala, Nallamulu Bala Shankar Rao. Can you please mute yourself, please? Can you mute yourself, please? Otherwise, I'll have to ask you to leave.
Please cancel me. Hello.
Continue, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you very much. Translation. One should be satisfied with whatever he achieves by his previous destiny, for discontent can never bring happiness. A person who is not self-controlled will not be happy even with possessing the three worlds. So Srila Prabhupada makes a wonderful statement in his purport, and this line we have to always carry in our hearts. If happiness is the ultimate goal of life, one must be satisfied with the position in which he is placed by Providence. Jai. So this email I found is very, very much. I realized this point is relevant to this. That whatever situation, if we envy in our, because this envy is our fundamental problem and root cause of anxiety. And in the other hand, the satisfaction is the secret of happiness. So we have to choose, although this is the root cause that that's why we are here in this material world. But as we studied and we see Srila Prabhupada's purpose also, that we have to utilize our intelligence to become satisfied what we have, or whatever situation Providence putting us into, because we can't because if we fight against that, we only be going to be disturbed and anxious. So this is the secret of happiness and what I realized from this. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Jai, wonderful, wonderful. So nice. It's very inspiring. It's very inspiring. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So good. You sorted the discussion very nicely, in the right tone. Please, others can continue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I would like to share my realization. Right.
So
Yeah.
we cannot see your face today. What?
You can. Okay, sorry.
There you go.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
In Auckland also, we are
So,
going to do a haircut. We're going to have a haircut now. After 97 days, the saloons have been open now, allowed on Thursday onwards. But we are very scared to go out. So we have to go on, Unless we are expert like Sanjeev Prabhu, who shows everything away, That is best. So you look very nice with your haircut. Please continue. Hare Krishna.
so my realization is based on this one thought that I was since so the line of the thought process was when work doesn't work, detachment works. So I just had my exams recently, and then some other goals I set for myself, health and everything. But sometimes things, even after you work the best on them, you don't get the particular results. Like, so I had a realization based on that. So yeah, here it starts. Sometimes we work at something, yet nothing seems to work. We struggle to improve our relationship, but things keep going south. What can we do when work doesn't work? We can seek detachment. To see how detachment works, we need to understand that all work has two results, outer and inner. When we work on a relationship or some exam or some sports or some fitness goal, the outer result is that the goal that what we are working for, we that becomes better or we achieve that. And the inner result is that we become more mature and empathetic. The outer result is determined not just by our endeavor but also by destiny. If destiny is unfavorable, then that result does not come despite our best efforts. Does this mean that we passively resign ourselves to fate? No, not at all. It just means that we don't work solely for the outer results. Attachment fixates our vision on those outer results, making us believe that without such results, the work is useless. Detachment frees our vision to look at the inner results too. Even if we don't improve, let's say, at a particular thing, becoming more mature and empathetic makes us a better person and improve our overall prospects in other things. Pertinently, the Bhagavad Gita 2.47 recommends that we work without detachment. Detachment works best when it is based not on material frustration, but on spiritual illumination. Gita wisdom offers such illumination by explaining that we are at our core souls who are on a multi-life journey of spiritual evolution. We evolve as we expand our capacity to learn and to love. If we learn about the ultimate reality, Lord Shri Krishna, and direct our love from the world to Him, we re-envision our work as an offering of devotion to Him. Even if the outer results don't come, detachment and devotion ensure that our heart grows and goes closer to Him. And that is life's most enduring and fulfilling result. Gita 2.47 is Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhur ma te sangosto karmani. Translation: you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Very nice. Avinash, what are you doing, man? You should be punished. Maharaj says like this, This Ambarish should be punished, And Maharaj would see all these people giving, this becoming devotees. He said, this Ambarish should be punished, So Maharaj would say, it's the Avinash Krishna Prabhu should be punished, He's making all these sadhus, the young people into sadhus. Very nice, very nice. All the best. Please.
Can you clarify Maharaj punished? What?
Maharaj would say all these people who are nicely find their senses, you're making them into devotees. So you're doing terribly wrong things, for people. That's why he should be punished, Hare Krishna. Yes, please continue.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Sanjay Prabhu and Arth Prabhuji, for your very nice realization. It's very nice to hear, realization. And yeah, Sanjay Prabhu also shared very nice realization regarding how to actually, what is secret of becoming happy, Actually, so a most open secret,
So
actually.
what is the secret to become a crow, is it?
become non-invasive, yeah. So, and thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for this wonderful program. My realization, I think last week, I think it was very busy. I think one of the important week in the whole year for me, as in my work life. We actually gone through a series of different audits, and I prepared months and months to actually get it all right. Because it was in such a messed up state, but I managed to get what I wanted. Krishna's mercy, and everything was passed with no any hiccups. And as soon as I finished, and I was thinking I'm going to relax now, at least for a couple weekend and couple of days. And I got a text saying that, oh, there is a serious issue. Actually, somebody made a mistake on a labeling, and you need to actually jump into the recall situation. And I was so gutted to hear that, because I just thought that I'm going to relax. And then I came next day and I actually worked the whole day. I was continuous on the laptop for maybe almost 10 hours, and it's done. And I stopped the laptop, and then I said, oh, what a week. And I was really frustrated. And then I opened actually WhatsApp, and I saw this actually video shared by Avinash Prabhu, where the actually Maharaj glorification, actually shared by one of the devotee. And actually I watched that, where Maharaj actually made a point where he referred to Srimad Bhagavatam verse, Canto 11, Chapter 2, verse 49, where it is said, actually, I just read the translation for actually a limitation of time here. Within the material world, one's material body is always subject to birth and decay. Similarly, the life here, pran, is harassed by hunger and thirst. The mind is always anxious. The intelligence hankers for that which cannot be obtained. And all of the senses are ultimately exhausted by constant struggle in the material nature. A person who is not bewildered by the inevitable miseries of material existence and who remain aloof from them simply by remembering the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be considered Bhagavad Pradhan, the foremost devotee of the Lord. So actually, it's very beautiful verse. Actually, I got this reference from that video. Thank you, Avinash Prabhu, for sharing that. And actually, when I read that first point, actually, it gave me a sort of just big relief, So I thought, oh, this is all temporary. I'm unnecessarily getting anxious, this is going to come and go. And that's how actually, the Maharaj, actually, the instruction of Maharaj, actually, even if you're suffering, gives you a instant relief, when you actually read them. So that's very wonderful quality of Maharaj, and that's actually the pure devotees. Even when I read Srila Prabhupada, and even actually the transcendental mellows, we have that calendar. And every day, actually, after puja, you quickly read, while reading to the work. And every day, actually, it's like Maharaj talking to you, So every instruction seems very relevant to you, what is happening. And I found that very interesting, It's always like he's answering your questions, how to remain focused in devotional service and try to actually, you are actually quite involved in your material activities, but still how to remain aloof. That is actually art. You can actually learn by actually reading these melos and Maharaja's instructions. So it's very nice. And I was thinking on that point, it's a pure devotee. And even Srila Prabhupada actually means I read Srila Prabhupada's actually lectures and his books, the way he explained. And if you look at the Maharaj, means they have very different style, actually, the way they speak and way they deliver, But I'm captivated by both of them, the way Srila Prabhupada actually share his realization, where Maharaj realizations are very, very practical day to day, And Srila Prabhupada maybe normally, sometimes he talks very broad on a broad perspective, but sometimes he can go into details as well. So that's actually the quality of pure devotee. So I came across this very wonderful verse, which nicely describes, the quality of a pure devotee. And it is actually described, they are just like a flowing water, and they purify everything that comes in a way, As you know, the water, when it's actually stagnant, it loses its purity, all the contamination start to actually, creep in, the bacteria and all that. And which is actually, we practically know. And this Srimad Bhagavatam verse actually gave that actually analogy for a pure devotee. It's Canto 11. Actually, it came into my reading while preparing for our Wednesday class. So Canto 11, chapter 7, verse 44. Swachah prakritaha snigdho madhuryastirtabhur nirnam muniha punati apam mitram iksho pashparshva kirtanaye. O king, a saintly person is just like water because he is free from all contamination, gentle by nature, and by speaking creates a beautiful vibration like that of flowing water. Just by seeing, touching, or hearing such a saintly person, a living entity is purified. Just as one is cleansed by contact with the pure water, thus a saintly person, just like a holy place, purifies all those who contact him because he always chants the glories of the Lord. So very nice verse, and this is in the actually glorification of Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. I was thinking, actually this something actually I will always refer. Actually means this realization is actually means taught by Amrish Prabhu, always in the programs, but I never know there is a verse for it. So actually, it is actually evidence, scriptural evidence, praman, that actually all the realization is shared. There is always a reference in scripture. And Maharaj actually, as it says, we never meet Maharaj. I never meet Maharaj. I never actually, saw him face to face. But we are very touched by his just instruction, his vani, And as this verse says, is such a power actually in instructions of such a pure devotee that actually is changing our lives. So actually this is very revealing. So unless that person is very pure, pure devotee of Lord, actually it's not possible. Because Srila Prabhupada also, we always felt that we are so unfortunate that we never got an opportunity to see Srila Prabhupada, but at least we actually have all this actually literature, all the scriptures and lectures given by Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev, that we are very fortunate that we come in touch and we are learning. And I was thinking on this point that Guru Maharaj is always, and he always says, actually he shared another mail where he says that even the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, a single verse, has a power to take one back to the Godhead, Actually, means Amrish Prabhu shared this long time ago, and I was thinking, how come is one verse, can take one person back to Godhead at the time? I used to think, but now as we actually studying different Srimad Bhagavatam verses and Bhagavad Gita, and the point I realized is that actually all the verses, actually if you study scrutinizingly, actually they always culminate in a single point. The way Srila Prabhupada wrote, the purpose is always come down to the actually pure devotional service. That is actually key to all solutions, and that's actually realization that actually means I realized that even currently we're studying chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, which is called the most confidential knowledge, and the most confidential knowledge is the pure devotional service. So actually, we have been actually preached about this. So it's most open, most confidential. It's like an open secret, we know it, but we still don't know. So actually, that's what I realized. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. It's very nice. Thank you very much. Also, I wanted to inform all of you that Srila Gurudev's Vyas Puja, Transcendental Appearance Day, is coming on it's in India, they're celebrating on the 18th of December. In New Zealand, it is the 19th of December. It's a Sunday. So it's great. But because of lockdowns and all that, we will be doing online. We'll meet here, in our program, novel. Now, also, I wanted to encourage all of you to write your homages if you can, to glorify Maharaj. If you have been benefited in some way, shape and form in this program, these programs are being conducted by Srila Gurudev to engage all of us in service of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ultimately, everything rests on Srila Prabhupada only. So, those who are now in beginners program, but still moving up for some time, now you have experienced a little bit, of the shelter of Maharaj since last few years, this couple of years. So, I would like to encourage all of you to also write. What you can do is, maybe you can, for others as well, you can email me or email Avinash Krishna Prabhu. He's got his email ID. But latest, I want it to be sent to me or uploaded, on the 3rd of December. Yeah, which would be next Friday. All right. So you got some time. If you, you can write elaborate also, up to you, or you can just write your thank you, from the heart. And Maharaj generally he would not like glorification at all. Maharaj would just not like it. But once the big festivals were over, ceremonies would be completed, and devotees would all go away, back to their homes. And then Maharaj would find some quiet time after a week or so, and then Maharaj would read each of them, to understand and to appreciate the disciples, not for glorification, but for this, for our own purification. So I would encourage all of you. I know those who are in the intermediate program and the leaders program, you are going to do so. So please, if you can email with your team leaders, just email to them, and they'll do the needful. And those who are in the leaders program, if you can just email it to me, then I'll do the needful as well. So till the Friday, don't wait till Friday. You can finish it off as soon as possible, so you can start uploading things. Yeah, on the 3rd of December. Is it okay? Anyone has any questions on this? Okay, very nice, very nice. All right. So please continue. Who would be the next to give your realizations, please? This is a very nice realization session. Hare Krishna. Is somebody saying something? We can't hear anything. I think Dolly Mataji is trying to say something, but I think it's muted.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, my phone is, I think the speaker is bit, I just have to put it close. Just my video. Hare, sorry, Prabhuji.
Take your time, take your time.
Yes, I think I have to put my phone a bit closer and switch off the video. So my realization on the question you asked in the WhatsApp group, that the enjoyment of the life. So as we know that the enjoyment of the life for everyone is so different. Obviously, a devotee would like to enjoy their lives through their devotional service. And a material person is, the enjoyment for the material person is completely different. So my realization on this is from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 38, that if we would like to enjoy our life through the devotional service, and if we bewildered from the path of transcendence, there are some chances to fall from the material and the spiritual platform. And to grow on the path of the spiritual platform, we have to sacrifice sometimes our material enjoyments. And but if we sacrifice with the devotional service, then we cannot enjoy either the material or the spiritual happiness. And to achieve the goal of supreme absolute truth, one may take many births, but only who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto Krishna. And such a great soul is very rare, as we know. After realizing the spiritual life, activities which continue to have the devotional service, one can become attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto Him. But for that, Krishna's mercy is everything. And one can only get this mercy by always engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. So and that becomes our real enjoyment as we being devotee, we always experience that we go for the material things and then you come back, you don't feel that was a real enjoyment. And if we used to do lots of services in the temple, and then we used to have our programs, you never felt like even if you're coming back in the midnight, we never felt like, oh, it was very temporary enjoyment. It was actually the permanent. And then when you go back to in those memories, you actually feel satisfied. So yeah, for me, the enjoyment of life is the real enjoyment where we are engaged all our senses in the devotional service through different services. That's my realization, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mother. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Very nice. Who would like to go next?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Sanju Prabhu, for getting the ball rolling, as you always do. Thank you, Shuddha Prabhu. Parth Prabhu is gone. He told me he's busy somewhere, but thank you to him also. And thank you, Mataji, for reminding us our old glorious days. Hopefully we come out one day of this cave. So my realization, as usual, is actually more I read Bhagavatam, more I read Bhagavad Gita, more I associate with devotees, more I share realizations. I find that it is actually probably we have said this before. The knowledge is unlimited, and also the knowledge is complete, absolute we call it. And the absoluteness you realize as you progress or as you try to progress, and you find answers in the scriptures. As Shiva said, even one verse is enough, which Maharaj would always say. He has told me also, and probably has told Abhishu also. And he also told me that you don't need to go anywhere else except reading these two scriptures. They are enough for you. And I think that even these two scriptures, for us to understand, I think this lifetime is not enough. Because the depthness of realization is actually unlimited. Every relationship, every feeling, every idea, whatever, means it is just endless. And that's always overwhelms me. What had happened recently, because of Amrish Prabhu pushing me all the time, being the catalyst of all those things, whatever we do, because credit goes to him, holding the flag of Maharaj. So I have been coming across with a lot of people lately, all shapes and sizes, with all kinds of question and answer, which I think we have never discussed also. And because of this knowledge and how we actually apply, as Shiva also pointed out, that is the perfection of this scripture. If you don't go anywhere else, you stick to this, you get all the answers. Whether it is a material answer, whether it is a spiritual answer, whether it is a psychological answer, whether it is a, nowadays a lot of people doing personality development, whatever you want to do, it's all in there. So that's and I talk to older people who are older than me. I talk to younger people, and I talk to my granddaughter also. She asked me such a question that why Krishna is not closing his eyes? Why you do this? Oh, you say sleeping, but how does he sleep? Oh, he eats, but how does he eat? And so from a 4-year to actually 80-year, I have to answer all of them, and I don't know how it happens. And also then, these young devotees keeps me on my toes, because they have got so many practical things to actually be able to realize this knowledge so that they can apply this knowledge in their life. That keeps me on my toes all the time. And that's what I think the best plan I can have to spend rest of my life. So in this reference, the verse I would like to, lately I've been reading Canto 2 again. And when I read it, I realize that actually I have not read it. Maybe I've read it, but I have not understood it. Or maybe I've understood, but I've forgotten it. Because if you don't do it every day or every week or regularly, we forget. At least I forget. And it shows up. The verse is Canto 2, chapter 1, verse number 6. And it talks about everything. Shukdev Goswami starting giving instruction to Parikshit Maharaj about the creation process. And he's glorifying the power of this Bhagavatam and Krishna. The verse is like this. Etavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Swadharma Parinishthaya Janma Labha Para Pumsham Ante Narayan Smriti. So there is Sankhya, there is Yogabhyam, there is Swadharma, there is Janma Labha, and there is Narayan Smriti, everything in there, in this one verse. And it words, I'll probably read quickly, I'll not take a lot of time. I'll quickly read the translation of and synonyms both, because they make a lot of sense. Etavan, all these, Sankhya, complete knowledge of matter and spirit. Yogabhyam, knowledge of mystic power. Swadharma, particular occupational duty. Parinishthaya, by full perception. Janma, birth. Labha, gain. Parah, the supreme. Pumsham, of a person. Ante, at the end. Narayan, the personality of Godhead. Smriti, remembrance. So it talks about everything. It talks about complete knowledge of matter and spirit, that is Sankhya philosophy. It talks about mystic power, that yoga. It talks about Swadharma, occupational duty, whatever we do. And then Narayan Smriti. The translation is like this. The highest perfection of human life, achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practicing of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. So everything is in there. So what is the perfection of life? Is to remember Krishna when you are leaving body. And to be able to do that, we have to practice this now, not postpone it, that when I be there, when I get there, when I at this level, when I whatever. So it is actually everyday thing that we remember. I remember we have heard Amrish Prabhu quoting this. We have to retire every day. We don't have to wait to retire at this age, at this time, or when I have got so much. So retirement is actually that detachment or retirement is everyday situation. So highest perfection of human life, not and self, is achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit. It is up to us what process we want to follow. The most conscious knowledge has been discussed by Sridhar Prabhu, is a devotional service, which Krishna says. But the mysterious thing is that this cannot be understood. People don't understand it. So it can be understood either by Sankhya philosophy or by practice of mystic powers. There are many ways of doing it, and we can elaborately discuss on this. As so many yogic process to actually go there, to be able to achieve to this, so that we can remember Krishna at the end of our life. That's the perfection of life. Or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, like young fellow. Last week when Krishna Prabhu was giving a class, I was so happy. I told Amrish Prabhu that this is what we want. The young generation, the freshness of thoughts, the way they apply. We have heard Krishna Prabhu many times, and I had a lot of fun with him also. But when he is giving a class and the way he's putting up his point, it's so different from all of us. And that's what we should be doing more often. Then, we should be retired now. So this is occupational duty. What I want to say, that occupational duty, whatever you do, like Sanju Prabhu was saying, whatever you do, if we perfect that also, we can remember Krishna or remember Narayan towards the end of life. So that Prabhupada talks about Narayan and all those things, the purport, but that's not the context I wanted to get into. I wanted to say that the fullness, the completeness, the absolute Bhagavatam is actually perfect. It is up to us how we actually take advantage of this and how we want to apply it. It's for everyone, and everybody can actually take advantage of this. That's my relation, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Avinash Kishore, for a nice realization. Yes, you are very nicely taking care of the younger generation. And we are now going to retire. The younger generation would want us. This business is such that the older you grow, the wiser you become. Is it not so? So even the younger generation would always want to hear from you. Maharaj was 91 years old. And we all wanted him, piece of him. You know. Maharaj could not then travel. I remember it was the last stages. So I was thinking what to do, you know. So how do we do this? So I said, okay, I'll do one thing in Newland Community Center. There's a downstairs hall. We used to go upstairs. It's downstairs hall, you know, where we do our festival of Krishna. We used to do with a stage there. And I said, I'm going to do this, you know, and bring Maharaj here, and the stage will lift it, you know, and then Maharaj will give class. Well, Maharaj cannot come, so what should I do? So I'll have a live broadcast. Now it is very easy to live broadcast. Like we are on Zoom here. People are sitting from different parts of the world, and person speaks, everybody can hear. At the time, it was not there. Internet was also very patchy in India and around the world. There was no live broadcast as such, Facebook or this or that, nothing. So I was thinking, what should we do, you know? So I approached Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, if we create a situation where Maharaj can sit in Rajkot and I can make arrangement that somebody can record Maharaj and there will be live broadcasted in New Zealand, will be okay, Maharaj? So I said, very good. Please. So the one thing I couldn't do. I tried, but facility was not there, you know. Of course, now Rajkot you can have easy 24/7 Wi-Fi and all those things. At the time, it wasn't there. So I thought I will have big program we'll do, collect all the devotees. Downstairs we'll have, there's a screen also there, if you remember. You can pull down the screen above the platform, you know, the stage there. And we will have prasadam, devotees can sit and Maharaj and speak to them, you know, and we can have interactivity. So I was having that vision at that time, but technology was not there. But we have to all become broadcast, you know. We all have to become broadcast of Srila Prabhupada's message as per the mode of Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. Ultimately, everything rests and credit goes to only His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Only because of him that everything is set up. Only because of him. He is the only personality who was very practically given Krishna consciousness to the world. Implementation, you know. Very nice. Please continue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
Am I audible? The network connectivity is very poor. So if at any point the voice loses, just let me know. Actually, I'm currently outside my house. I'm at my house. My cousin brother just got married, so I'm at his house, and there are a lot of people here. So everyone is constantly coming in and going out. So it's really
Bangalore.
disruptive.
Bangalore.
No, I had 3 weddings in the past 10 days. 3 of my cousins got married. And I've been traveling since like 2 weeks now, and I'm just tired, very tired.
This is India. This is India. I remember have
Yeah.
a week, 2 weeks time. Is it not so? We miss all those things in New Zealand. Here there are no weddings only, man. There are some weddings here, there once in a while, But there it is big, very good. You're very lucky. Don't leave India, Stay in India only.
It was 3 back-to-back weddings. I need like a 1 week of sleep now, just sleep. So it's very hectic. But yeah, the network connectivity here is really low. So I texted Avinash as well that I don't know if I'll be able to attend this class or not as well. But I did not prepare any like big realization. I just before I started traveling, I started reading Bhagavad Gita, like again from chapter 1. So I came across this verse, and it's very small realization that I just wanted to give. I just wrote it down on my phone, 1 second. Yeah. So it's chapter 2, verse 1. Just a second. Yeah. Chapter 2, verse 1, the translation says that seeing Arjun, Sanjay said, seeing Arjun full of compassion and very sorrowful, his eyes brimming with tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. The purport is very small, so I'll just read the entire thing. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjun wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. A man fallen in the ocean of nations cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, the gross material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjun was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose, the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in the self-realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, as explained by the Supreme Authority. Lord Shri Krishna, this realization, by the Supreme Authority, Lord Shri Krishna. This realization is made possible by working with the fruitive being situated in the fixed conception of the real self. So while like I remember when I first started reading the Bhagavad Gita, like we have this thing that, oh, Sanjay said, so like how important can this verse be, right? Because like when I first started reading it, and I was not very informed about everything. So like these little verses, I used to like, okay, just read it from, like not detailed explanation or understanding. But when I started reading this again and I came across this verse, and just the first line struck me really hard, that, material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of the ignorance of the real self. This one line just stuck with me so hard because when I was not in devotional service, I used to be very, like, not that I'm not anymore, but I used to be very overly emotional about certain things, that I used to feel very bad about people suffering, and it used to consume me a lot. But when I read this line, that material compassion is a sign of ignorance of the real self, and another line that Prabhupada writes, which is so powerful, that compassion for the dress of a drowning man is senseless. It's such a powerful line that, if you think about it, it's just amazing that, yeah, like these are not the problems, that any problem that your body is suffering is just so superficial, right? Because it's all temporary. And this, when I was reading this, I got reminded of this one instance where a long time ago, that I was watching the movie with my younger brother, and he was very little at that time. And I guess it was an emotional movie, and I guess I started crying or something. And so my little brother got so worried that he was like trying to console me, and he was like, "Do you know this is not real, right? Like this is not real. Like this is all temporary. These people are not real. Like why are you crying?" And I got reminded of that's such a good analogy for what we're going through, right? Because all of this is so temporary. Like we're all just so-called characters that we identify so much with that we're not able to dissociate from all this, all everything that is going on in this world. So that really struck me hard, because I've always been this kind of a person who takes things so emotionally and so close to my heart. But I guess this really helped put things in perspective, that like how we discussed a couple of weeks ago, that about charity to the poor people, that how that's not helpful at all, because it's just this one life, and you're just this compassion for the poor people is just senseless, because ultimately it's the soul that's suffering in this material world, right? So everything else is, while it's a good quality to be compassionate, but as Prabhupada says, that people don't know where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the soul is the real compassion. So yeah, I guess this one thing really struck me hard. And when I was thinking about this, it also came to my mind that really any feeling and any feeling that is attached to this physical body is just senseless, right? Like in a way, if you look at the larger picture. Sorry. Yeah, I guess. Sorry, somebody was on the door. Yeah, so it's just senseless, right? So in that sense, I guess we should really take a step back and look at things in a larger perspective. So that really helped me. That was I feel like that was something that I had not noticed before. And another thing that I would like to add on to this realization, that mellow that Ambrish Prabhu shared, that we were supposed to answer about how the purpose of this life is to enjoy. So like I was thinking with respect to what has been going on in the past few days, like especially in the current times, people have romanticized so many things, that in the name of joy and in the name of having fun, and things like traveling, things like attending marriages of your cousins, for example. Like so many things are romanticized on such a great level, but only like if you experience these things beyond a certain level, they just get extremely frustrating. That one marriage of a cousin is fine, but three marriages of a cousin, and you just want to like scroll under a blanket and just sleep. And traveling once or twice is fine, but if you're traveling for 2 weeks, you just want to sleep in your own bed. I remember calling my mother and telling her that if the next bed I'm sleeping in is not my own, I will just completely lose it, because it's just so hectic. And that's what really is, we make so many exhausting plans to enjoy that, and we just keep looking at the good part of it, but we don't see all the work that goes into it. So that's why we keep romanticizing things that are just not worth being romanticized. And I think that's where all the conception of having fun comes, especially in our generation. We're not able to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Like I remember Amrish Prabhu giving the example of rasgullas, that you can eat one, you can eat two, you can eat 10, 20, 30, but after a point, you'll get so frustrated that you'll be like, no more. I don't want to see the face of rasgullas anymore. So yeah, I think it's really important to understand what enjoying really means. And yeah, that's all. I'm sorry, my realization was not very structured, but yeah, that's what I have been thinking about in the past few days. Hare Krishna.
That was very nice realization. Very nice. Okay, it was short and unstructured. I think it was very good. Very nice. And true, Srila Prabhupada, so hammered the point, finished. You're Shudras, they say. If you are going to associate with this body, you're Shudra. Wow. Tell this to I'm born Brahman. How dare you call me a Shudra? I'm smoking cigarette, I'm Brahmana. And I'll kill you. But no, you are a Shudra. The thinking is Shudra. So powerful. This is Prabhupada. You see, he is the only personality in this world who get away by calling people rascal. He called everybody rascals. Rascals. Scientists are rascals. Doctors are rascals. Sorry. Accountants are rascals. All rascals. Marketing people are rascals. All are rascals. But see, everybody worshipping him. He's so true. He said, only if you worship God, then you are good. Otherwise, you are not good. And he proved everything accordingly on this basis. Fantastic. In this age of Kali Yuga, person can do this, of hypocrisy. Imagine this. Where we see one person saying something and there's a defamation case going on against him. People misunderstand, misconstruing. And he's writing all these things, man. Speaking all these things. Amazing. This is pure devotee. That's why it's worth taking shelter. Sharanam Sharanyam. It is mentioned that it is worth taking shelter. So we are very, very fortunate that we have somehow or other come in touch with Srila Prabhupada. So as I always say, that I may cheat. Everybody will cheat you. I don't know about everybody, but I will cheat you one day, But don't leave Srila Prabhupada's teachings. That one you should always keep. You can fall back upon the teachings all the time. Anything happens, open the book and read. Every day you must read. Every day you will get solace. Every day you're progressing back to Godhead. Jai. Wonderful. Please, more, only more. More nectar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, I'd like to go ahead with my realization. So every time I've seen myself or all the people over here sharing a little bit of their achievement or progress with respect to Krishna consciousness, which is very inspiring and motivating. But today, actually, I will be sharing a failure of mine. Very recently, I regularly started reading the Krishna book. I made it a point to read it before bedtime every day. And it was actually really, really working well for me. Because before I started reading the Krishna book, I had a problem with sleeping on time and getting up early. I mean, I had to get up early because of my classes, but then I used to sleep very late. I would stay up studying or on the phone or doing something else, and I would only get about 4 to 5 hours of sleep. And I didn't even realize this before I made it a point to read the Krishna book. Now, if I had to read the Krishna book, I couldn't just keep on go ahead studying with my academics until I started feeling sleepy. Because if I started feeling sleepy, then I couldn't read the Krishna book. So then when I started reading the Krishna book, and another thing that happened was that when I would wake up with my alarm and I would be feeling very groggy and I wouldn't be able to get up. And I found it very difficult to get up and go ahead with my day, but I just had to because I had no other choice. But after I started reading the Krishna book, it was very smooth transition. It was like I still required my alarm to get up, but it was like I would get up, but I really didn't feel groggy or like I haven't gotten sleep or I'm feeling very tired in the morning. I was very easily able to get up at 5:30 or 6, and I started. So it was all going very well, and I was also chanting my rounds, and it was I was like, okay, I'm reading, I'm doing my book reading regularly, I'm chanting my rounds, and everything was going well. And then what happened? So I actually thought at first that I should share my realization on this thing, that how reading the Krishna book helped me put my schedule in place. But what happened was I was thinking about my realization, but then the last week I started reflecting on it. I had my exams. It was from Monday to Saturday. Like yesterday, my theory papers, they've gotten over. So they were like, I had 6 papers continuously from Monday to Saturday. And in that week, I slowly, and on Monday, I only chanted 8 rounds. On Tuesday, I did 4. And by Wednesday, I wasn't chanting any rounds. And I also stopped reading the Krishna book because I was studying up late. And it was all very helter-skelter. And I actually stopped doing anything. I stopped progressing. I stopped doing anything related to Krishna consciousness in my day. It was just very mechanical. I would just study, I would give my exams, I would come back, I would study, I would sleep very less, but still it was 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And I would again go for my exams and I'll give my exams. And only yesterday after my exams got over, I started reflecting on it and I was like, okay, so basically the realization that I was, and yesterday I saw the message on the group that today is supposed to be a realization class. And what I was thinking to make my realization, I had actually done the very opposite of that. And it was even the opposite of what I had said in my last to last exams, wherein I was chanting every day. And that was my realization before. And now I had to be honest about what is going on with my life. And because of exams, I'd stopped doing anything. So I just wanted to, now I just thought that I will try to get back on track. So I've started from today. I decided I will again continue with my 16. By the way, my practical exams are still left. They're starting from tomorrow. But I thought that I will give this priority. I will complete my 16 rounds. I'll do my book reading. But I just wanted to share all of this that happened with me. This is kind of a fallback for me. And I just wanted to share it with all the devotees and be honest about everything. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Soumya. Thank you for being upfront and honest about this. It's very nice. All you young people, or youngsters, being so nicely devoted is very inspiring, Very nice. Very good. Now, I'll tell you one thing though, that when you have to do sometimes in student life, after student life also in work life, then after and with work life also family life, and after that work life, family life also some other life. This is going to happen. So um, when we cannot study or we cannot read or we cannot chant for those days, what you do is that you can sometimes carry forward. Don't give that commitment right now. At this stage, you should not give the commitment. But those who are, we find those who are, very serious, initiated after many years of that practice. So then, when they cannot do it because of these exams and all these things, you say, okay, doesn't matter. If you can't do it, then you carry forward it. Carrying forward is not a very good, but don't beat yourself down for this because you are studying. That's why you could not read Krishna book. So now, once the studies are a bit over, then you can read Krishna book. That's all right. That's perfectly all right. As I said, Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada's, especially Srila Prabhupada's whole philosophy is very practical. You're very, very practical. So I want to tell you one more thing. Srila Prabhupada would say that for family members, it is best that if you can read Krishna book at the night before you go to sleep. Prabhupada has said that, and for precisely this reason only, that as Maharishi Goswami Maharaj would say, that like a child, all of you have got small children, those of you are small, you will see this. If they are playing around before they go to sleep, when they wake up in the morning, they'll wake up and start to play around. Same thing. So before you make them sleep, make them sit down a little, calm them down, small children, and may read them this Krishna book and all, and they would go to sleep nicely. Morning they wake up, they'll not run around. They'll be peaceful. The same thing with us also. If you watch some movies or some serials on so whole night they're sleeping, you're bouncing, going on. You wake up in the morning, you're still bouncing, So Prabhupada says this, that you must do this. Now, ancient India in the Vedic ages, the Vedic kings, they used to also have professional reciters who would sing about Krishna and narrate about Krishna, and all the king and the family would listen to this in the evening after they had their meals and all those things, and listen to this and they go to sleep. They can afford to do this. But we are not kings and all those things. So we open our own book and we read Prabhupada nicely speaking to us freely, tirelessly. So you are doing very perfectly. Open the book, Prabhupada speaking to you, read it nicely, and then go to sleep. But when you've got exams and all that, sometimes, some days you can skip it. That's okay if you have to. Otherwise, it may hamper you. You should not be stressed for it. When you progress yourself, you will compartmentalize it. So my suggestion to you is, instead of you haphazardly stopping it, you take a constructive decision to say, all right, now till today I could study. Tomorrow's paper I have to study a lot. I may not have time to. If I don't have time, doesn't matter. It's okay. If one day I'll stop it, or 2 days, or 3 days, or 1 week, or 2 weeks. After that I'll start again. So tell yourself that you can do it very nicely. But it's very good. It's very good. You are very, very thorough about things. Very principled. Very nice. All the best to you. All the best to you. This will
Thank
help
you.
you a lot. This will help you in your life. This will help you in your life. Hare Krishna. Yes. Who would like to be the next?
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all very much for your very nice realizations. And it was very inspiring to hear everyone. As always, very, very in-depth, insightful, and very honest, and with practical realizations, which are always so important. Otherwise, it's all very mechanical. My realization is from a quote from the intermediate group, where Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, in the purport of Adi Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 3, verse 97, it says that the fact is that in this material world there is no scarcity of anything except Krishna consciousness. Now, I'll admit, when I first read this, I read it completely wrong. I thought that Prabhupada was saying that Krishna consciousness is abundant, and everything else is very scarce. And so I thought that was, very, when I first heard that, I was like, when I first assumed that, I thought that was brilliant, right? That makes perfect sense. And, I was starting to prepare my realization with a big smile on my face. And then I reread it, and actually Prabhupada's saying that Krishna consciousness is scarce and everything else is abundant. And so then at that point, I decided to think about it a bit further instead of being very superficial. But the point is, I'll actually read the purport of the verse. I'll sing the verse once and give the translation as well. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 3, verse 97. Keha pape, keha punya, kare vishaya bhoga, bhakti gandha nahi yate yaha. Bhakti gandha nahi yate yaya bhavarogha. Translation: everyone was engaged in material enjoyment, whether sinfully or virtuously. No one was interested in the transcendental service of the Lord, which can give total relief from the repetition of birth and death. Now, there's obviously some context to this translation, which Prabhupada mentions in the purport. Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Advaita Acharya saw the entire world to be engaged in activities of material piety and impiety, without a trace of devotional service or Krishna consciousness anywhere. The fact is that in this material world, there is no scarcity of anything except Krishna consciousness. So this is where the quote is from Srila Prabhupada. Material necessities are supplied by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We sometimes feel scarcity because of our mismanagement. But the real problem is that people are out of touch with Krishna consciousness. Everyone is engaged in material sense gratification, but people have no plan for making an ultimate solution to their real problems, namely birth, disease, old age, and death. These four material miseries are called bhava-roga, or material diseases. They can be cured only by Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is the greatest benediction for human society. Obviously, there's, we could spend a long time dissecting this purport and understand this purport in great detail. but I just made a couple of points that I think are relevant to me personally. Is that when we think of when I thought initially that Krishna consciousness being scarce, obviously we say that, as Prabhupada also mentioned in the purport, that everyone is very materially inclined. The process of karma kanda, and full action, where everyone is working towards an ultimate goal, which ultimately results in a reaction on the bodily platform of life. And no one is looking, or very rarely people look towards spiritual, raising their platform towards spirituality, which was again the basis of our discussion in the beginners WhatsApp group as well. And I was thinking further that when we think of religion, so there's Christianity, there's Islam, there's Sanatana Dharma, etc. But actually, even there, I'd like not to offend anyone by saying this, but even there's no the actual idea of Krishna consciousness is very revolutionary in comparison, and also a reason why our concept of non-sectarianism is also very revolutionary and very hard to accept for some people as well. That Krishna consciousness is fully situated in the spiritual platform, where we are aiming to directly have connection with the Supreme and to develop a relationship and to love him. Whereas when we see in Christianity, at least the watered down version of Christianity, obviously the teachings of Lord Jesus was perfect, as he was sent by Lord Krishna himself. But throughout the centuries where everything has been watered down, now all they talk about is you become a good person, you perform pious activities in your life, and you'll go to heaven. Whereas we know that that's still situated in the bodily platform of life. It's still material. You may get a good body in your next life, but that is not God consciousness. For them, there is no concept of next life. For them, it's just, you only live this once. So you just do good and you'll go to heaven. We can see a lot of faults with that as well, which we won't go into necessarily. But the point is that even there's a faulty assumption or a faulty teaching there and it's not true to what, real Christianity is, which is why Prabhupada said it's non-sectarianism, that if you follow any religion or any teachings of a bona fide spiritual master, then it's fine. You will still reach the same goal. The aim is one. But that's what it means to be scarce. The Krishna consciousness is very scarce because, again, there's complete in thinking. We perform good. If we give food to the poor, if we perform good activities, will this help us in our devotional service, or will this dictate our results in devotional service? But we know that it doesn't, because it's again action and reaction and karma, which is so. When I was meditating on this point, I realized that actually this point is very, very important. That the entire concept of Krishna consciousness, not necessarily Sanatana Dharma at all, because there are very different. There's always various schools, but our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, in which it's taught that the importance of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was showing us about Sankirtan Yagna, and being very, very focused on developing our relationship with Lord Krishna through bona fide scripture, that is what is lacking in the material world, and that is why it's scarce, and that is why, in fact, everything else that we look at is still situated in materiality. Obviously, people who try and do good may not necessarily be doing it for sense gratification, but even then, we said that they have a motive in mind, or they want to feel good about it. So that is still, still in essence gratification. So I was just meditating on those few points, and my realization is that it's a very, very actual revolutionary quote by Srila Prabhupada, because it applies to everything. Prabhupada didn't say that there's scarcity of religion. Prabhupada said the scarcity of Krishna consciousness, which is the the eternal religion, the true understanding. So there's my realization. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Very nice, very nice. Youngsters are very cleverly understanding things, putting things across. So the skills we can push through how Bhakti Yoga is supreme. That's very nice. Very correct. As they say, as we go and we realize, we become more realized, we become more mature in our spiritual wisdom, we come to the conclusion that everything, the topmost form, what will you do when you have achieved prema of Krishna? You do prema, you do devotional service. That's when the real devotional service begins. Uncontaminated, unalloyed. So the process is the same to achieve the goal of Krishna consciousness. After you achieve the goal, what you do is also the same. Quality differs. The change in the quality, that's the only difference. Everybody chants the same thing, chanting, reading, studying, waking up, arti, association, same thing. Quality different. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Please feel free. Others, please. Even if you have some questions or clarification, this is a good forum, realization forum, where you can give your realization and even you can ask questions or clarification on any topics, spiritual topics, Feel free, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Shuchi here. Actually, it's very wonderful that I really listen to each realization and get relish. Like my sense of understanding develops after each realization. And actually, Avinash Krishna Prabhu often tell me that please feel free that you can ask question or say your realization, but today it's just a mix of realization and a question that mostly when we sleep we that I'm developing a habit of reading books and then sleep, as you say, and it actually invokes such a beautiful, like in these days, or maybe I often feel that I undergo a dream seeing a beautiful deity of Krishna, Radhaji. So I, I wanted to ask that, is it actually true that we really see Krishna or Radharani in our dreams, or is it actually our consciousness that is uh, developing each day? Or is it really true that we are actually seeing God in our dream or experiencing certain divine things in our dream? Is it really actually true, or is it when we see a picture and then our subconscious gives the dream? Or is it because of our regularly going spiritual practices?
Okay, thank you, Suchi, for your question. Can I ask you one question to understand you better? Why do you ask the question that when you are dreaming you sing Krishna? Is that real Krishna? Why are you not saying when I'm awake I see Krishna? Is it real Krishna?
I'm awake, then I'm seeing, but then in when I'm sleeping, I'm also seeing certain kind of a dream or kind of that a visual experience in in that zone also. So is that thing actually is a divine intervention, or that is it is my own thought that is going?
It is a very nice consciousness in which you are sleeping. It proves that. It's a very good.
So is it true, Prabhuji? Because I really feel that is I am actually worthy of seeing that also. That
I was saying what I said was that your consciousness when you are sleeping is good, is nice, and continue with it. Seeing Krishna, Krishna can appear whenever he wants to appear, to whomever he wants to appear. Nobody, I cannot say no, I cannot say yes. It's once, this is the dynamism of Bhakti Yoga. Nobody knows the level of Bhakti which a devotee is. And nobody can point out, you are small, you are young, you are neophyte, I'm elder, I'm senior. All this doesn't work out. But when we hear elders, when we hear senior superiors, Krishna is very real. You talk to him, he talks to you. So when you are sleeping and you see dreams, in your dreams you see Krishna. There are many devotees who dream of Krishna. And this is very nice. Sometimes Krishna comes in the dreams to instruct also, as Paramatma. That is correct. Even pure devotees also, they come and many times in the dream. Yeah. And if you think that you are advanced, then Krishna will instruct you from the dream. But if you feel that you're seeing Krishna in a dream, that means at least your consciousness is very pure. You are not seeing gangsters in the dream. Or you're not seeing yourself floating around with a boyfriend in the dream. You're seeing Radha and Krishna. So which is good. This is best. That means what you're doing, consciousness is there. One thing I can tell you though, with my limited understanding, is that dreaming, sleeping is in a mode of ignorance. It's not very good quality. But, the but in it, if you do devotional service before, so how do you do 24 hours bhakti devotional service? So it is said that if you are chanting your rounds or if you study about Krishna before you go to sleep, then when you're sleeping and you wake up, it is considered devotional service. This is as per the sadhus, they refer this. It is mentioned that way. Srila Gurudev would say this all the time. Yeah. Otherwise, in sleeping, you have no control what's happening. So Krishna, practically when he wants to come, you will see him practical, talking to you, you're talking to him. And if we are pure enough, if our bhakti is good enough, then he will come. Nobody can tell you that you do this and he will come. It is the will of Krishna how much he reveals. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam satheva bhajamyaham mama vartamanu vartante manushaha path sarvasara. Everyone follows my path in all respects. As one surrenders unto me, I reveal accordingly to them. So it's very nice what you're doing. Please continue. And you'll become more pure as you chant more lovingly. You express your love by chanting. You are constantly focused upon Krishna 24/7. Then you will see Krishna every time. Very nice. Is this okay what I told you? You understand what I'm trying to say?
yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
So don't be discouraged. But if you think you are pure enough, then you can go ahead with it. Otherwise, you must make sure that you can do more and more. In your daytime also, everywhere you can see Krishna. Think about Krishna, meditate upon Krishna, follow Krishna's instructions. The best way to see Krishna is to follow the instructions. So don't complicate things. What he says, and what he says, what are his instructions? The whole Bhagavad Gita is his instructions. So to say everybody, if you want to follow Krishna, follow the instructions. That's what we do now. If somebody is a follower, they follow the instructions, right? My dad used to say this, my uncle used to say this, my guru used to say this, my aunt, my dog used to say this, my cat used to say this. So we are following it. Generally, we follow the instructions. So more we study sincerely, the more we can understand what he's trying to say, what is in his mood. Yeah. So those who are in sales, we are very cunning people, We're very cunning people. Sales people are very cunning people. Politicians, sales, investigators. So when somebody is speaking, you keep quiet. You don't open your mouth. Because only when somebody speaks, he's revealing what is in his mind. Yeah. So when Krishna is speaking, we don't speak. We read. We get what he's trying to say in the Bhagavad Gita. This is how we follow him. And slowly and steadily, when we are purified enough, then most certainly we can play with him. He'll play with us. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do. There are devotees who have experienced things also. I remember one my mother used to say, there was one devotee, I don't know which sampradaya he was following. Probably he was from, I don't know. But you know how he passed away? How he left his world? Old man, he was a very good devotee of Krishna. In Janmashtami day, at 12 o'clock in the night, when Krishna's birth happens, and you put the swing, you're swinging him. He was swinging him and he left the body there. He's not an ISKCON devotee, but he left like this. How beautiful is that? His consciousness is that way. So we encourage you, Suchi, please keep on doing this. But at the same time, you must spend time in studying Krishna's Bhagavad Gita, especially Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. So you'll get more insight about this. Practically you can understand this. Is this okay?
Thank you so much.
Very nice. All the best to you. Yes, please. Hare Krishna. Please continue.
Just continue, you can ask question. You raise hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Please go on.
Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you very well. We can't see you, but we can hear you. No problem.
All right. My realization will be a little bit different. I will not be out of the track, but I would like to share that what Divyanshi Mataji has said and what Soumya Mataji has said, it make a lot of sense to me because recently when I have been, even a lot of things were happening at workplace, at home as well. But I remember the very first session that I have done here with you, and I remember you telling me, like telling all of us, that we should always live by two principles. First is never forget Krishna, and second is always remember Krishna. I mean, first one is always remember Krishna, and second one is never forget Krishna. So I took a note of that, and I have started putting that into my consciousness. And I believe that when we are studying, there will be a lot of distraction. Even when we are working, many challenges will come into our life.
You become muted, Kanchan. Sorry, continue.
Sticking to what you have told us, sticking to the principles that you have given us, will make a lot of impact. And I experienced that you yourself, have that tendency to prioritize things when you are in Krishna conscious. Like whenever if I'll get an hour or two, couple of hours, if I get free from work, so I try to read books, I try to chant, and I try to fix my schedule in such a way that
I'll be able to make time for Krishna. And I feel like that is how we can grow, because being human, we have a lot of things to do at our workplace, at our family life. We have a lot of job to do. We have a lot of roles to play. But then sticking by your principle, I feel like it has given me a lot of motivation, and that is how I'm growing in Krishna consciousness. So I feel like I'm just a beginner. I am in the process, not even in the process, I'm at the beginning point. So I would like to thank you. Second thing, I would like to turn on my camera. Actually, it's my dog who is sleeping on my lap. So from them, I realized, Prabhuji, I would like to share. It will be a little bit informal for this platform to share this experience, but I would like to share. I have a cat also. So I came into Krishna consciousness when I was reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. I was not even associated with ISKCON, and I was not even aware that there is an existence of ISKCON temple in the Nagpur. So when I used to read the Bhagavad Gita, my cat usually comes around and she, used to be near me only. And my dog and my cat, what they usually do whenever I'm doing Sandhya Aarti or at home when, actually I'm from a non-devotee family. So we have different altar at our place upstairs. So whenever we are doing Sandhya Aarti, like I usually do after work, and then whenever I am playing some kirtan or Maha Mantra, I always see my dogs and cat around me. Like my dog literally comes near to the altar, and I feel like when God has said everything is a part and parcel of Him, and we have forgotten our relationship with God, but once He gives us a chance to remember Him, I feel like even those who like falling under the category of animal kingdom, like cats and dogs, they also develop that consciousness. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I have seen that changes. Like every Bhagavad Gita class that I attend, he has to be near me. However, he will not do anything, but see, he is like listening. It's like him. So is it, I feel like I know it's correct that they are also part and parcel of him, and somewhere they also are trying to develop that consciousness, probably. I hope it will help them in their future too, including all of us. Is it? I don't know, maybe it could be a little bit informal. I'm so sorry, but this is what I feel like, because that's what I have experienced earlier. It doesn't used to happen, Prabhuji, and I am seeing the changes, positive changes in them as well, and their attraction towards it as well. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Very nice. Very nice. Did you say that your pets, they feed from the owners? So the feed meaning even the energies they feed, consciousness also they feed. So it was said that when people were anxious during COVID first wave, even their pets, dogs, would be very anxious, and would not be so always the case. And first thing I would like to say, I did not say this. Always remember Krishna, never forget your principles. This is what has been spoken by Srila Prabhupada, and His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj instructed me, so I'm repeating the words. So, yes, I just repeated the words, just wanted to say that. I'll give you the verse also. It says that Smrtavyaha Satatam Vishnu Vishwatavyo na jatuchit Sarve Vidhi Nishedhaha Etayor Eva Kinkara. So it means that Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never be forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the servants of these two principles. And what are those? He should always be remembered and never be forgotten at any point in time. This is the point. Etayor eva kinkara. Kinkara means servants. So everything, all principles that we are doing, devotional service, any activities that we are doing, bhakti or spiritual things, should culminate into these 2 points. We should remember Krishna and not forget him. Very nice. And your question was what? That the pets are also getting the inclination for devotional service. Is what you're saying? Asking me?
My question was like, I don't know whether it's a question or a realization, but I would require your inputs on this. When God has said everything is a part and parcel of Him, so I feel like they also have Him with them.
Yes.
And as we have been told that we forget our relationship with Krishna. So I feel like even Maha Mantra have impact on them as well. Some way the other, probably. They are just listening to it every day.
No, it has got certainly effect on everybody, all living beings.
Right. Even on plants I have heard.
Yes, they are living beings.
Right.
You can talk to plants. It is said, it is proved that if you tell plants, now here I'm going to feed you this, now grow properly. Plant will grow properly. You talk to plant all the time. Best is chanting. And animals or birds, animals, they also have got jiva, they are alive. Krishna as Paramatma or Super Soul is inside every living being. So why not?
Yeah, right. So my question is, Prabhuji, like he usually have prasadam. So is it okay to give him?
Of course.
All right.
Must give
He
them.
loves it. Yes.
There is nothing. Make them vegetarian. No onion garlic, no problem. The next birth would be such a great birth. Such a great birth. I mean, it's okay. They can eat their normal stuff also. They are by their body, they have to eat non-vegetarian food, whatever it is. So give them some prasad also with it, whatever it is. Everyone is benefited. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to Jharkhand forest, which is today Jharkhand, so he went to Jharkhand forest. He's coming from there. It was even now it is big forest. So he would sing and dance, so the trees and the plants could also listen. And when he would dance, animals would come singing to him, dancing with him, and he would make tigers and the deers dance
Hug
together.
each other. Yes.
So,
They were hugging each other and kissing each other. That I have translated also.
yes. So
In
this
one.
do not this thing, no problem at all. Only thing that when you're performing the arti, when you do so, when we will teach you right now, don't worry about it. So at the time, just remain a little suchi, for it. So that's the only little difficulty. Otherwise, it's fine. No problem. When you're cooking for Krishna, make sure that they don't eat it from the plate of Krishna's, offering and all that. No, that's I'm just letting you know. There's a few things. Other things, Avinash will let you know. But please, every living being, plants, insects, birds, everyone, that is woken up now. So everyone is hungry for God. And because those living beings have misused their independence, all of us, we are suffering in the material world. Somehow we've been given this greatest opportunity of being human beings. We may also have been dogs or cats or something in the past life. Insects, who knows? And who knows, somebody must have just given us some prasad, we've eaten it and now we are human beings. We don't know. So we have misused it, but through mercy they have grown. Similarly, we have to purify ourselves. We are not great enough to say, here, I'm purifying you. No. I'm purifying you for purifying myself. That's why we say we're preaching not to train you, we're preaching to train us, purifying us. That's the truth. So please, they are all benefited, they're benefited, and they are coming to Krishna consciousness. When you are chanting, they come to you. Please, that's best. Let them also be 24 hours Krishna conscious. Hear Krishna all the time with you. When you're reading, read loudly, they can hear also. Who knows? There are examples where great devotees, after the stage of advancement, they got attached and they fell down. They got attached to animals like deer and they fell down. And in the next body, they became deer because that's why their consciousness changed suddenly. Bharat Maharaj are like this. But by Krishna's grace, he remembered everything from his past life. So he said, I've become a deer unnecessarily. I've fallen down from my human life to a deer life. So I should be very careful now. So after his deer life was over, he got human form of life. And that's why he chose, I'm not going to talk to anyone. I want to concentrate upon Krishna. I don't want to make this mistake ever again of attachment. That's why he would roam like a mad person, would not wear dress. People would chastise him, spit on him, and it would be like just stone, He would just be like stone. That's why he was called Jad Bharat. And we in India, be it Hindu, Muslim, whoever, they say, "Arey, ye to Jad Bharat hai." Ye Jad Bharat hai wo. They say. So he's like Jad Bharat. But Jad Bharat was a very, very advanced devotee. So, what I'm trying to say is this, that every living being has got the birthright to know about who the Creator is, how to love Him. They may not have the intelligence to express it or understand it, so give them prasadam. So many living beings, human beings are like this. They don't understand philosophy. So okay, give them prasadam. Animalistic. They don't understand philosophy. So give them prasadam. Sing some, they're benefited. So don't feel like this. Please do so. Continue with it. And if they're involved already, then involve them more. Chant, make them sit beside you and chant nicely. Become their Shiksha Guru. By following somebody. You don't because I'm a Shiksha Guru. Don't make that mistake. But you just follow someone's instructions and do it. But do not be overly attached to anybody. Do it as a matter of duty. They've come to you, and you can do that, Generally, devotees, they avoid cats, animals, association. But don't worry, you already have them, so don't avoid it. They are progressing, it becomes a duty to make them progress nicely. When they leave their body, they'll be thankful to you for what you are doing, Very nice.
Actually, Prabhuji, they are with me before I came into Krishna consciousness. So it's almost 4 now.
Yes, no, I understand. You told me this before. You told us. So no problem. It is best. Please do so. Devotees are always very compassionate for every living being. And they are with you. They are already coming to you when you're chanting. Please give them Krishna. Just follow Prabhupada on behalf of Prabhupada. Say, I'm chanting, for my purification. And let them hear. Do whatever you want to do, let them hear. If you sing filmy songs, they'll listen to filmy songs. They become filmy chakkar. But if you listen to Hindi, if you're chanting Hare Krishna, they'll become devotees. You become devotee, they become devotee. They are small children, they are like small children. Yeah, very nice. All the best. Hare Krishna. Yes, anyone else like to say something, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I ask something?
Yes, please continue.
Prabhuji, while I chant, I feel that Maha Mantra is very powerful, and also the sampradaya which I belong, that is Pushti Marg, वहाँ पर that particular sector, say Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, that is also I feel very powerful. But I feel that other people around me have their different communication to get connected to God. Like this is a communication I feel to get connected to God, and other people have different mantra or different type of communication to get connected to God. Is that connection or that communication also transcend to them to connect to God, or is it only Maha Mantra or like Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama that can make us connected to God, or the people who actually follow different things or different mantra or different uh, worship differently can also be connected to God.
What is the example of what mantra they chant? Different mantra means what mantra?
Like maybe a devotee or a person is a worshipper of Shiva, so they say Om Namah Shivaya, or someone is a devotee of Lord Ram and Krishna is both are supreme personality of Godhead, but they would say Jai Shri Ram, or they would chant something else. So that also can connect to the supreme or divine, or is
See, as long as you are praying to the Supreme, you'll be connected to the Supreme. As long as you know who the Supreme, you'll connect to the Supreme.
Hmm.
So is Shiva the Supreme? They'll be surely connected to Shiva, no doubt about it. If somebody is chanting mantra for Ganesha, of course they'll be connected to Ganesha. But is he Supreme? That's a question. So we have to find out the Supreme. Okay? So the benefit is you pray to somebody, you'll get there. There are people who pray to their fraud also, that Sai Baba with big hair, like this. Where he has gone. They'll go with him wherever it is, So it is said in Krishna, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, if you worship demigods, you will go to demigods planet after you die. Means any devas. If you worship bhutas and pretas, there are people who worship them. Then you go to bhuta and pretas planet after you die. Become one of them. If you worship pitrus, the pitru worshippers also. Like the Romans were also pitru worshippers. Like we also have pitru worshipping, We do Shraddha and all that ceremony. Romans used to do pitru worshippers. So Krishna says you go to pitru loka. But at the end he says, if you worship me, you'll come to me. And there is no life and no birth, death, old age, disease after that. Is this point clear, Ruchi?
Ji.
Now, second point. So you should know who the Supreme. So Krishna is the Supreme. Okay. Lord Ram is also he's also nearly as good as Krishna. So no problem. You can worship Lord Ram, and you go to Ram planet. There's a spiritual planet by the name of Ayodhya Puri is in the spiritual planet also, Vaikuntha planet. Okay. So your relationship, you should establish a relationship. That is important. Right now, as we are studying, we are understanding a little bit of Krishna. But when the relationship is established, then either your relationship with him, then it matures as a friend, as a servant, as a lover, as a parent. It matures. So with that relationship, in that consciousness, then once Krishna is satisfied, you go back to the spiritual world in that particular rasa relationship. So there is no harm. Somebody is worshipping Ram, that's fine. But somebody is worshipping any demigod, they go to demigod planet. They don't go to Vaikuntha. Okay? No, they will come back again after death. After the demigod period cycle is over, they come back again. What is the use? Wasted, time wasted. And as far as the Maha Mantra is concerned, I know Pushtimar, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. The meaning of this is, you also know, Sri Krishna Sharanam means I surrender myself, Mama, unto you. I'm surrendering myself unto you. Am I correct? Is the meaning of Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama? Yes. So here you are surrendering yourself to Krishna, which is good enough. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra does surrendering to Krishna, yes, but it surrenders to Krishna through Radharani. So what happens is this, that here Krishna and Radharani has manifested from Krishna his loving tendency, the tendency to love. We had this question in the beginners program. What did Prabhupada say? That we are born to be happy? Because Krishna is himself wanting to be happy. So to create his happiness more, he has expanded, his brought out his Shakti called Radharani. So Radhika Rani is there. So she is the embodiment of all Shakti. And when Krishna says that all the living beings are my part and parcels, that is correct. But actually, if you go to see technically, you'll know these things a bit later on. We are all part and parcel of Radha, expanded from the Shakti of Hiladini. So our only business is to love Krishna. So it is best that we serve Krishna when Radharani engages us in loving relationship with him. That is the meaning of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And that is the reason why in all the scriptures it is mentioned that there is going to be Yuga Dharma. For Kali Yuga, there will be a Yuga Dharma. Every Yuga has a Dharma. Dharma means religious process. One cannot invent a religious process. So for this age of Kali Yuga, the religious process is also mentioned. Shastras, scriptures, they mention in advance what is the religious progress for Sati Yuga, what is for Treta Yuga, what is for Dwapar Yuga, what is for Kali Yuga. It is mentioned clearly, from meditation, to performing of austerities, to performing sacrifices, yajna, and to perform big temple worship. And to this age, everything is ruined. So that's why it is said that in this age, just the chanting of the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it is specifically mentioned, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra would be spoken, and it is mentioned Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself will come as Krishna and he will propagate this. So that is the power of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So in this age, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra has got its Shakti. It's very potent. Like when I used to teach people who were non-Indians, I used to do a program called Mantra Meditation. Moment I used to make them chant Hare Krishna, they say, oh, this is religion. We don't want to do this. So I would make them chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And they're very happy about this. This is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This mantra is there. It's very bona fide. It is also very potent. So many of them, even today, they chant this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And some of them, after they were progressing more, we introduced them to the Hare Krishna mantra. Because this mantra has got its potency in this age to express one's love and gratitude to Radharani and requesting her to engage us in her and Krishna's loving devotional service. So now you tell me one thing. When you chant Hare Krishna, you are requesting Radharani and Krishna to say, please engage me in yours and Krishna's loving devotional service. Or you'll have to say, I'll bypass Radharani and Krishna engage me in your service. What would you like to do?
Hare Krishna.
Yes. So as a devotee, we don't want to bypass anything.
But Prabhuji, can I say something?
Yes.
When we say that Radharani and Krishna both are one, so when we say Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, doesn't it actually also implies that?
It can be implied that way also. But as long as you understand the workings of the different Shaktis of Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
So if people understand these different Shaktis of Krishna, Haladani, Samved, Sandhini, how they interact, how do we fit in? Because all these Shaktis, Krishna, in our body, we have got blood flowing. Krishna's body is different. So we will understand what flows in his body. So although they are one, they are still separate. Why are they separate? Tell me. If they are one, why did Krishna create her separately? There's a reason for it, right? That's the point. That is the point to be understood. And it will be clear as time progresses, as it will be clear. So for people who do not understand this, they say, I want to chant Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. So no problem. You'll get certainly benefited. Please do it. No problem at all. Someone say, I want to chant, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So no problem. It's perfectly all right. Bona fide. It's a bona fide thing. But in this age, especially us, we are the Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. We are a specialist Sampradaya with loving devotional service to Radhika Rani. Through Radharani we go. And not only her, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, he says, Gopi Jana Pada Kamalayor, Das Dasanudas. He says, I don't want to even approach Krishna directly. I am actually the servant of 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 the servants, or servant of the gopis of Vrindavan, who love Krishna completely. So that is the actual meaning behind the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, not just Radha and Krishna. Tell me, how sweet is it? Is it not so sweet?
Ji. And Prabhuji, if Radha Rani,
you understood the sweetness.
Yes, Prabhu.
To appreciate everyone who's ahead of you and loving Krishna. It is not that suddenly today we start to realize Krishna in this life. So before us, those sadhus, those devotees who have been worshipping Krishna, we will bypass them and go right into Krishna. Krishna will never appreciate this. He says, one who says he's my devotee is not my devotee. But one who says he's my devotee's devotee is my devotee. So this is our mood. So that is the point, that the whole movement, if you're understanding Krishna consciousness of Bhakti Yoga, then you have to understand that we are in the chain of disciplic succession. Like your icon has got a chain there, connecting chain. So we have got this connecting chain, all this connecting chain. From Krishna coming down till Prabhupada, coming down to Sampradaya, to us, to our gurus, to us. You see? So we are thankful for this. This point you must remember. So there's no harm in chanting other mantras, but if you really want to appreciate your seniors, others, that Krishna will really love that way. There is no separate endeavor for it. Otherwise, you have to endeavor for it. So why are you asking me directly? Go to them, my servants first. So we're already doing that, Is this okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. Actually, that was I was about to say that when I chant Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama also, but when I chant Hare Krishna, that gives me a sense of sweetness, that sense of sweetness within.
Yeah.
What is that sweetness is maybe the when it is associated or it is situated with Radharani. So that is the sweetness that I'm getting. Actually, I realized over the period when I was chanting that when I was chanting Hare Krishna, that gave me a sense of sweetness, because basically I know what Hare means. Hare means Radharani. So that Hare was giving me such a sweetness in my heart that I really feel very what you say, mellow.
Yeah, that's good. That is the purpose. There is a difference. What I was trying to explain to you is what you are experiencing. This is best. That is the point. There is a philosophical reasons also. What is Krishna on his own? What is Krishna with the Shaktis? But those will be explained little later. It's a bit advanced at this level. So you have to watch the space. Keep coming to the program and the classes, and one day you will understand this. So it's very nice. So those who do not understand this, we say, no problem, chant. Shri Krishna Saram Mama. But now you understand it. So we are giving you a bit deeper. You understand this point?
Ji Prabhuji.
So it's
But
just like you are learning something from somebody. He has got everything to be given to you. But how much can you digest based upon what he gives you? That is Krishna. And that is what Prabhupada gives us as per our digestion capacity. Yes. Okay.
And Prabhuji, as you said, that there are many different energies and you will come to know when you will be advanced. But what I feel that Krishna's love energy, that is Radharani, at the best, it gives me a sense of love, a sense of true satisfaction at my heart.
Yes, that is the purpose. There is Radharani, no? That's perfect. Correct. That is absolutely right. Please continue chanting Hare Krishna mantra. You'll never go wrong. All the best. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Anyone else before we finish the discussion today? Like to say something or ask questions? Please feel free. If also what we have discussed, if you want to say something, you can please feel free to say it, Okay. Very nice. Thank you very much. So we come to the conclusion of today's discussion. For devotees' participation and realizations and questions. And I can see that Navina is excited to come. It's her time to sing now. Is it, Navina? It's your time to sing, huh? Very nice. You got two teeth like rabbits now. It's come out. We'll follow.
Cricket, Prabhuji. I have two tooths behind that are coming inside.
Oh.
It's still not so wiggly.
Ah, that's right. That's
I
right.
just want to tell you something, Prabhuji.
Yes.
We have someone. I have someone in my as a friend in my school, and the family is trying to be fully vegetarian except her dad.
Oh, very nice. Except her dad, huh? No problem. Dad will become vegetarian later on. If the daughter becomes vegetarian, dad will become vegetarian. All the fathers or daughters will tell you, right? And mothers or daughters will tell you this. Daughters have got special, power. When they become wives, they also have special powers. It requires very special power of the husband to be not attached. Hare Krishna. Very nice. All the best. So you want to sing now? Okay, wonderful. Please start. 1, 2, 3. Hari Bol.
Maharaj, please hear us.
Maharaj, please hear us.
We have learned some real good stuff.
We have learned some real good stuff.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
And today for you, we will sing.
Today for you, we will sing.
If our room is clean,
If our room is clean,
then our mind is clean.
then our mind is clean.
Our mind is clean.
Our mind is clean.
We can do anything.
We can do anything.
If our room is dirty,
If our room is dirty,
then so are we.
then so are we.
And if we are dirty,
We are dirty.
we're not happy.
We're not happy.
Wasting time
Wasting time
is the greatest crime.
is the greatest crime.
Because wasted mind
Because wasted
Time. Wasted time.
wasted time
Because wasted time
means a wasted mind.
is a wasted mind.
So best use your time
So best use your time
when you're in your prime.
when you're in your prime.
And your whole life
And your whole life
will be sublime.
will be sublime.
If your wealth is gone,
If your wealth is gone,
then there's nothing wrong.
then there's nothing wrong.
But if your health is gone,
Because your health is gone,
that's a different song.
that's a different song.
But if your character dies,
But if your character dies,
then the world will cry.
then the world will cry.
Only saintly behavior,
Only saintly behavior
that's humanity thrive.
lets humanity thrive.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We must always remember Krishna
We must always remember Krishna
and never forget him too.
and never forget him too.
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question,
And here is the greatest clue.
and here is the greatest clue.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
You must work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen very closely
So listen very closely
and make your thinking sharp.
and make you thinking sharp. Let's learn.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
If something's due tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
And what if it's due today?
And whatever is due today,
Do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy
If your friends might be lazy
or doing bad things.
or doing bad things,
But if you think again,
but you think again,
don't follow them,
don't follow them,
and you will win the end.
and you will win in the end.
Whatever work we given,
Whatever work we given,
we do our very best.
we do our very best.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to pray. If you learn to live this way, we'll see Krishna every day.
This is how to live, to work and to pray. To learn to live this way, we'll see Krishna every day.
And when the time is up, we take us up above. We sing and dance with him with our hearts full of love.
And when our time is up, he'll take us up above. We'll sing and dance with him with our hearts full of love.
So chant Krishna's names, his glories and his fame is the only way this world you can never become sane.
So chant
Chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. It's the only way this world will ever become sane.
Now please ask this greatest question
Now please ask this greatest question
and find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest clue.
You can only remember
You
Krishna
can only remember Krishna
if Krishna remembers you.
if Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai.
Jai. His Holiness Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki Jai.
Jai.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Anta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaur Chandra Premanande.
Hari Bol.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastava Bhutale Srimati Maha Vishnu Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastava Okay, Hare Krishna. So we see you next week, same place, same time, Krishna willing. But before doing that, remember the deadline of the 3rd. Please write down your offerings and send it across to your team leaders or to myself, those who are from the leader group. And please be careful with the corona situation. It's not over yet. We have still see a lot of things go turn to custard. So do not be, very easygoing about it. I know in India things have become opened up and all these things is okay, but my suggestion to you, not to you. Okay. Thank you very much. Till the time we meet again, please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.